story to tell. In the age of the Mig-15, America's state-of-the-art Lockheed P-80 jet fighters and Britain's Gloster Meteor F-3 were good prey for the Mig-15. It was not until the US Air Force urgently dispatched 3 squadrons of the most modern F-86 Saber fighters to regain balance. At the time, no one knew that the MiG-15s were fitted with Nene RT-45 engines that the Soviet Union copied from the Royal Air Force. At the end of the World War II, the Nazis began using the first jet fighters, the Mi-62. The aircraft type was fitted with 2 Junkers Jumo axial flow turbojet engines for 30mm caliber machine guns. It easily reached and tore through the American B-17 flying fortresses and the British Avro-Lancaster heavy bombers. After the war ended, realizing the great advantage of jet aircraft, the United States and the Soviet Union rushed to get all the technical documents and components of the Mi-62 and combine with their technology to quickly develop their own jet. The Air Forces gradually entered the jet age. The Soviet Union initially relied on German Junker Jumo 004 and BMW 003 engines to create its own RT-10A and RT-20 turbojet engines. However, the products had very poor reliability after mass production. The first series of York 15 and York 17 jet fighters, due to their weak engines, were inferior to those of the propeller aircraft used at the end of World War I. The later Mig-9 also failed to satisfy leaders and military commanders due to engine problems. In the early 1950s, the Chinese Air Force in turn received the equipment of 13 Soviet air divisions, including 358 Mig-9 fighters. Due to weak engine thrust and very poor maneuverability, China assumed that it could not match the US F-80 fighters. In May 1951, the Soviet Union twice sent a telegram to China that, due to the previous mistrustment of the Mig-9's combat capabilities, it could compensate by non-refundable aid of 6 divisions, including 372 Mig-15 fighters, to replace the Mig-9s. At the time, the British Rolls-Royce, Nene and Derwent-X jet engines were the world's most advanced. They have great thrust, lightweight, stable performance, very suitable for the needs of the Soviet Air Force. The head of the Soviet intelligence agency proposed to buy with money or try to steal. The aerospace engineer Yakovlev also suggested to Stalin, "The British Rolls-Royce company has a very good Nene engine. It is fine if we spend money to buy it." After hearing that, Stalin was enraged. Would any idiot go to do that stupid thing? Only fools sell us their top-secret technology. However, it was true that the world has real idiots. In the summer of 1944, to entice the Allies, the British presented the Soviets with the remains of a very intact Nazi V-1 flying bomb they had obtained. This gift gave the Soviet Union a breakthrough in the missile technology. When the Soviet Union offered to buy British jet engines, the government of Prime Minister Clement Richard Attlee had just won the 1945 general election, happily responded immediately, because the British were in desperate need of money for post-war reconstruction and wanted to improve relations with the Soviet Union. The British side agreed to sell the engine, but did not sell the blueprints and the production license, although at that time there was a fierce opposition. In May 1946, the Soviet trade representative in London negotiated with the Rolls-Royce company on the purchase of jet engines and production license. The Soviet Union immediately spent money to buy 10 Derwent and 10 Nene engines. Then, because of money, the British sold 2 more lots, including 55 valuable Nene engines. Mig-15 Design Bureau, after receiving RT-45 engines, built the Mig-15 Holy Fighter, making the Soviet efforts bright at that time. The British, after selling to the Soviet Union these engines, continued to produce in large quantities and then waited for the customer to come back to buy more, or negotiate to buy intellectual property rights. And as you all know, the Soviets have gone without return. After Soviets received new engines, they immediately reversed design for research. With a team of powerful scientific and technical staff, along with a strong industrial foundation, only a few moments later, a series of engines copied from Nene RT-45 was born. The state-of-the-art Mig-15 fighters with superior features fitted with this engine were mass-produced in 1948. This was considered a fatal mistake by the British. The Mig-15 has demonstrated its superiority over the US Air Force. The Americans saw this in air battles over China and in the Korean War that followed. In the late 1950s, Mr. Winnie Stewart, Vice President of Rolls-Royce, when visiting Mig-15 Design Department, discovered that Nene and Derwent engines were copied. The British had indignantly sued the Soviet government for copyright infringement, claiming compensation of £207 million. Of course, the Soviets did not bother to answer, and the British also had to accept with pity. My video about legendary Soviet fighter Mig-15 turned out to be just a copy ends here. Thank you for watching. If you find this video interesting, please give me your thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to support the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.